Her mom, Lucille, also started having terrifying dreams. She dreamt that she could see Susan. This happened all the time, she said. She could see Susan terrified with a hand over her mouth and blood all over her.
No.
Isn't that eerie?
I got goosebumps.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're back and better than ever. Well, y'all be the judge of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Just kidding.
Definitely wouldn't say that. I'm gonna go ahead, jump right in.
Please.
I had this story and I was like, it'll be a quick, I think, recording maybe. And then I was like, oh, I hadn't done my formatting that I always do because, I like it for it to be spaced out so I can see, and it added like 5 pages.
Right.
It's like, I know it's a long one. Never mind.
Aunt, I know I was about to do this story like last year, and I'm excited for I guess you took it from me.
I didn't mean to. Well, you didn't call dibs, so it's actually your fault.
Right.
But
I know.
there was a lot involved in this. It's a big one. Big one.
Okay. I'm sure you'll tell me shit I don't know.
That's right. Source it. Okay, so hey, I'm Rachel.
I'm Rebecca.
I'll be telling y'all today about Gerard Schaefer.
Let's do it.
Okay. Sources: a book by Patrick Kendrick that I'll say at the end. I swear I've had that same thing in the past 5 episodes. Anyway, I'll say it at the end. South Florida Sun Sentinel newspaper, however the hell you say it. Okay. ForensicMag.com and CrimeLibrary.org.
Ah, good old crime library.
I know it. On April 1st, 1973, a man named Henderson Holly was picking up cans to sell along an area near the beach in Fort Pierce, Florida. He spotted what looked like a blue and white Busch Light can, so he scooped it up, but it turned out to be a piece of clothing. So he was like, that's weird. Then he noticed that near it was a black high heel shoe. Near that was underwear. Then a blouse.
Oh my God.
Then a different shoe. This one was blue. All of it was filthy and stained and disgusting. And near all of this was a huge tree swarming with flies.
Ew.
As he got closer, he noticed a stench that was almost unbearable, but something told him to keep going.
Ooh.
When he got to the tree, he made a horrifying discovery, as I'm sure you could see coming. Tied to the base of a tree was a very decomposed human body. The head was gone, as was one of the arms.
Oh.
He could tell it was a woman.
Yeah.
The other arm had rope around it. So horrified, he slowly backed away and went to get help when he tripped over something.
No. Oh.
It was a hole with more human remains, another body, also a woman, and her head was also missing.
Nightmare.
This poor man is traumatized. He said he was literally scared to move because he didn't want to find anymore. He thought he came over some burial. I mean, he did come over some burial site, but there's a lot of old Indian reservation. Like he was like,
oh God,
what did I just stumble upon?
Yeah.
One of the bodies had jeans on, and he noticed 2 patches sewn onto the jeans. One was the Roadrunner, and the other was an owl. He made a mental note and then finally ran to his car to drive to the nearest phone and call police. Again, 1973.
What time of day was this? We don't know. I just envision it
daytime.
At night.
No. It was daylight. Now, this was a scary ass time in South Florida, and it all started about 8 months before this discovery.
Ted Bundy?
Well, yes, but we're going to talk about Ted in a little bit. Actually,
are we?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But that's not who I'm talking about today.
Oh.
About 8 months before this discovery, on July 22nd, 1972, 2 friends, 18-year-old Nancy Trotter and 17-year-old Sue Wells, were vacationing in Stuart, Florida. They decided they wanted to go spend the day at Jensen Beach. They planned to walk to the beach, which is like 6 miles. But on this morning, they were at the band shell in Stuart, which I couldn't really figure out what it was. I think it's like the kind of like the Seaside Amphitheater. It's like a small outdoor stage near the center of town.
Yeah.
Is what I gather. They're standing there when a car pulled up. It was 26-year-old Gerard Shaefer, and he offered to give them a ride to the beach. When they got in, he said he was a cop working undercover. And on days like this, he just sort of drove around and patrolled. So he had all the time in the world. And walking 6 miles on a hot July day in Florida sounded terrible. So they're like, great,
Yeah.
thanks.
Great.
Perf.
Are you undercover as a creep?
We'll see.
Oh.
On the way to the beach, he asked if they wanted to see an old Spanish fort that was on the Indian River, to which they were like, sure. They turned down a dirt road and weaved through the dense woods up to a dilapidated shed.
An old Spanish fort?
Yeah.
So I would be like, no, that sounds boring. But y'all are very nice.
It'd be dope if it were real, but it's like a shed that's falling apart. And he was like, here's the fort. And they're like, I don't know about that.
Not what I expected. Let's go.
Yeah. So he's like, this is it. And then he starts explaining where the boats would come in and start giving a little history lesson. And it was an old storage shed. So they started getting impatient. They wanted to go to the beach. This was a big waste of time. But he had been so nice up until this point that they like kind of entertained it. They got out, looked in the falling apart, like, again, storage shed.
Yeah.
It's not a fort. They got back in the car and suddenly his entire demeanor changed. He rolled up the window, wouldn't put the air on, so they're just dripping sweat.
Ew. Yeah.
When Nancy finally asks if she can be let out or if they can be let out. He tells her to dump her purse out on the seat, which she did. Then he got out of the car, opened her door, pulled her out forcefully, and outside the car, he handcuffed her and put her back in the car. He's like in a normal car, he's not, they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He then did the exact same thing to Sue. And at this point, he's losing it. He's asking them where the drugs are around town, to which they're like, we've been in town for 2 days. How the hell would we know that?
Right.
They even like kind of snicker at it. They're like, are you kidding? I don't know. We don't know where drugs are. Then he said he was going to arrest them for being runaways.
Arrest
Excuse
them
me for being runaways. That's why he cuffed them. He then told them that he was going to sell them to a sex trafficking ring.
Oh, shit. Didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a whole 180 from the guy he was minutes before this. And they're like, what is happening?
Right.
So they're in the back, handcuffed, and he jumps out of the car, opens the trunk, and pulls out a big rope and a sheet, like a bed sheet.
Yeah.
He tells them to get out of the car and tears off 2 pieces from the sheet to use as a gag. He shoves it in their mouths. Then terrifyingly, he separates them and warns them that if one of them escapes, he'll kill the other one. Then he'll hunt down the one that escaped and kill her too. So no funny business.
That's scary shit.
I know. He ties up each of their legs and puts a noose around their neck. He ties a noose.
Yeah. That's the only part of the story I know, so that's why I'm not overreacting.
Awful.
Yeah.
This area by the river, this is so scary. This area by the river is a swamp pretty much. So there are a bunch of trees, and depending on if it's high tide or low tide, the trees' roots are exposed. Sometimes as high as 2 feet tall, like the roots coming out like 2 feet. At this moment, it's low tide. So the roots are exposed, and he makes each of them stand on one of the roots, and he throws the other end of the noose to a branch above them and ties the rest to a trunk. So as long as they don't lose their balance and slip off this root, they're fine.
God. Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll hang themselves.
Right.
It's
scary
horrible.
as shit. Yeah.
It's
what
scary.
a mind fuck.
I know. And it's just loose enough to where, you know, like they can breathe. They're fine as long as they stay on that root.
Their hands are bound?
They're handcuffed behind their backs.
Oh, right. Yeah. God.
So they can't hold the rope. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
And again, the roots are in and out of water all day. So they're slippery.
God. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah. That's
awful.
scary as shit.
So he first does this with Nancy. He stood back and watched her for a while. Then he pinched her ass and laughed and said, I could rape you right now if I wanted to. He's just fucking with her.
Yeah.
Then he left to go tend to Sue, who again is out of sight. He separated them.
I'd say I didn't realize he separated that all.
Yeah, he did this
terrifying.
one by one.
Yeah.
At this point, they've been with him for a couple of hours. And then he tells each of them that he needs to go and he'll be right back.
Fuck off.
When he comes back about an hour later, they're both gone.
Bye.
Because these are not the two women found decomposed on the beach. These are two other victims who survived this fucker.
Hell yeah.
After Gerard left Nancy teetering on the tree branch, so we know mostly from Nancy's account, just so you know.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of this is. After he left her teetering on the tree branch root, she turned her head and her mouth was at the knot of the noose.
Oh my
So
God.
she spit out the gag and started chewing on the knot. And she got it loose enough to where she could fall against the tree where the rope was tied and untie it with her hands behind her back. So she like threw her back up against the trunk and untied where he had tied it to the trunk. So the noose is still on her neck, but she got it loose enough to where she could get off the root and it wasn't going to hang her. It was still loose. It tightened, but it was still loose enough.
But she was able to gnaw her way. Is Nancy a bear?
She said it only took her about 15 minutes.
Oh, Nancy's a grizzly.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
how, if she got her teeth like into one of the little wraps around the noose and just pulled and it loosened the, I don't know.
Oh my God.
But so she was able to untie the rope with her hands behind her back. Then she got off her leg bindings. Their legs were bound too. Did I mention that?
No.
Oh my God,
I don't think so.
Sorry.
I don't think so. That makes it all the more scary.
It is very scary.
Wow.
So they were bound and she got those off. She gathered all the rope and then hid it, thinking that if he did catch her, he couldn't put her back in that position. So she like got rid of it.
Yeah.
And then she took off.
Right.
Again, hands still handcuffed, but her legs are free.
Wow.
She stayed low and ran back to the, quote, I'm putting in quotes, Spanish fort, where she could see that his car was still there. He was clearly with Sue, and she knew if she tried to go save her, he'd overpower her and probably kill both of them. So her plan was to run for help and get the police there before he killed Sue.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She went back to the river, to the shore of the river, and got in the water. There's snakes, spiders, even stingrays and jellyfish in this river. That's something. The book had all this science behind it, but they're whatever. There's jellyfish and snakes.
Much prefer to be with them than Jared.
Yeah. She did not care. Gerard.
Sorry. And again,
the second you said it, though, I was like, Jared? Jared? Maybe I've been saying Gerard the whole time. No, it's Gerard.
Yeah.
As she waded through the river, she hears someone yelling her name and she hides. This whole escape, she's thinking he's behind her, chasing her because of all the wildlife around her. It sounds like he's there.
Yeah.
So she's thinking to herself, if he's chasing me, I'm just going to give up. But thank God he wasn't. She thought the person yelling her name was Sue, but then she was scared that it was a trap. Like he was forcing her to do that, to come out of hiding. So she just kept going. Eventually, the mosquitoes in the water were unbearable. So she started walking back into the woods to find the road that ran parallel to the river. But the brush was so dense to get there that she had to go back to the river. There was no way she could get through it.
Wow.
Her feet are cut and bleeding. She's exhausted. She's, again, still handcuffed. Even still, she throws herself into the river and swims on her back. There's not much of a current in this river, so she's having to do a lot of work. She's essentially doing a backstroke with no hands.
Yeah. Damn.
She does this until she can see the road and passing cars, so she gets out and starts screaming at cars to help her, to stop and help her, which, of course, none of them do.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to mind their business.
I know.
Until a Martins County Sheriff's Patrol car pulls up. Sheriff Robert Crowder sees Nancy desperately screaming for help and immediately pulls over. Nancy tells him everything that happened and that her friend Sue is somewhere out there, hopefully still alive. And the sheriff tells her, don't worry, Sue escaped and flagged down a trucker about an hour ago.
Sue.
She's safe and she's at the police station right now. Thank God.
Thank God.
So he takes Nancy to the station and she and Sue give identical accounts of what happened. And when Sheriff Crowder finds out who's involved, Gerard is immediately fired because he actually was a cop with the Martin County Sheriff's Department.
A piece of shit cop.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so this piece of shit actually is a cop. So he was fired immediately. He was also arrested and charged with false imprisonment and aggravated assault.
Bye.
But let me tell you about this piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard Schaefer was born in 1946 in Wisconsin, the first of 3 kids to Doris and Jerry Schaefer. The Schaefers eventually moved to Atlanta, where Gerard attended the Marist School.
Oh.
Just had to throw it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Before finally settling in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, when Gerard was 14 years old. He didn't have a great relationship with his dad, Jerry. Jerry traveled a lot for work. He was never there. He struggled with alcoholism, and Gerard said he clearly favored his little sister over him. The dad did.
Yeah.
Gerard graduated from high school in 1964, and while in college at Florida Atlantic University, he joined the traveling singing group called Sing Out 66, which was made up of about 150 college students who, quote, sang the message of God, country, and clean-cut youth.
Oh.
Fun fact, Glenn Close was also in this group.
Really?
Yeah, they did like world tours.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who's that again?
It's called Sing Out 66.
No, but I'm saying, don't you want, like, for people that don't know, what movies is she in?
Oh, Glenn Close?
Yeah.
You know. Everything.
She's an actress, people, for those who don't. I don't know.
Y'all, you knew that. She, like, isn't she Cruella DeVille? Doesn't she have an Oscar? Like, she's like big time.
Oh, yeah. No, I know she's big time, but some of our listeners are like 17 years old, Rach. They might not know.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I actually don't even know if she's Cruella DeVille. Who knows? Anyway, she's a very famous actress.
Yeah.
In her 70s, probably.
Yeah. Okay. At the same time they were in this together?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if they knew each other. Again, it's like a big group of 150 American college students.
She was too cool for him.
All over the place. And they had little groups, from what I gather. Like, she had her own little, like, foursome singing group. So I don't even know if they knew each other. But
she probably didn't give them the time of day, if they did.
No. After college, he decided to join the priesthood and even applied to a seminary, but was rejected for not having enough faith, which... Whoa. I don't know. Must have been a hell of an interview.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
What led them to that? But wow, he did not impress the
We
priesthood.
don't want you.
We don't believe that you're a man of God. I'll tell you that. He then got a job teaching at Plantation High School in Florida, but was let go for imposing, quote, another quote that's dogging the shit out of him. For, quote, imposing his moral and political views on the students. It later explained, I guess his lectures were very aggressive.
Okay. This guy is
and the
really
70s
doesn't
too.
know. He doesn't know what to do with his life. He is just throwing anything at the wall to stick. These are all over the place. He wants to be a priest, a teacher, and now he's a cop. What are we doing?
I know. So after he was banned from teaching, he actually went to another high school, and they said the same thing. They're like, you're a lunatic. We hate you, and we hope you never teach in this state again. You're not allowed to.
You know what you should do is go to the academy.
Right. Well, actually, and one of the teachers, or one of, I guess, the principal or superintendent at the second high school said, I hope I never hear of you becoming something in your career where you're an authority over anyone. Because if you do, I'll fight tooth and nail to keep that from happening. Wow. So I was like, damn, I wish you had done that.
I know. Or God, he probably heard that and was like, oh, I'll show you. I'm going to be the symbol of authority. I'm going to become a cop.
Yep. So after that, he shifted his career to focus on law enforcement. After all, he had developed a disdain for indecent women and thought that they should be destroyed to help society as a whole.
Oh,
who better to do that than someone with a badge?
Right.
He graduated from the police academy in 1971 and got a job with the Wilton Manor Police Department, but was fired after a couple of months. The chief of police there, named Bernard Scott, said that he was very badge happy and made a lot of dumb mistakes. He was even caught pulling over pretty women and asking them out on dates.
No.
How gross is that?
How uncomfortable. Think of the eerie feeling those women got. A big excuse.
Ugh. Awful.
No.
After he was fired, he applied to what?
Just That is so infuriating. And it's kind of like you're intimidating me to say yes because you're in uniform and you have your big flashing lights behind me. Like,
yeah. Gross.
no, or else what?
Right.
What are you going to do? Fuck.
Right. After he was fired for one of those several dumb mistakes, he applied to other departments, and the departments would call Chief Scott Bernard for a reference. And he was like, absolutely not. He said, I will sooner put on my uniform and patrol town before I would ever let that guy like work for me again.
Chief Scott.
Get it? Finally, he applied to the Martin County Sheriff's Department and came with a glowing letter of recommendation from Chief Scott.
Oh, forged.
Yeah, obviously.
This is like that cartoon character, Austin fucking Edwards, all over again.
Oh my God, yes. That piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's a previous episode. If you're working your way back, you'll get there.
You will.
He sucks.
They all do.
So he came with this great letter of recommendation from the chief of police.
Chef's kiss.
So Sheriff Crowder of Martin County hired him right then. Later, of course, learning that the recommendation letter was very much forged by this piece of shit. He had only been working in the Martin County Sheriff's Department for about a month when he picked up Nancy and Sue.
Oh my God.
Nancy and Sue had actually met Gerard the day before their abduction. It was their very first day of vacation, and they spent the day on Jensen Beach when they decided to walk home to their hotel, which again is like a 6-mile walk. As they were walking along the highway, they'd put their thumb out to passing cars, hoping to get a ride, but to no avail. Then suddenly a police cruiser pulled up and idled next to them. When they took notice of him, like they barely even heard him, he asked if they knew that hitchhiking was illegal there, which is a lie.
Not. Oh, okay.
They said, no, we're from out of town. We had no idea.
And it's the 70s and we're in Florida. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Come on. Get out of here.
So they were like, no, we had no idea. We're vacationers. The deputy introduced himself and offered to give them a ride back to their hotel, which they graciously accepted. During the ride, he lectured them about the dangers of hitchhiking and offered to pick them up the following morning to give them another ride to the beach. They said, sure, that would be awesome. So he dropped them off at their hotel without incident and said he'd see him in the morning. The following morning, again, Gerard picked them up in his personal car, not the patrol car, and obviously had much scarier plans for them. When he left them in the woods for that hour, it was because he got called to the station, like to tend to something.
Yeah.
So that was not part of his plan, but thank God for that call.
For real. My God.
When he came back and realized that both girls had escaped, he called his boss, again, Sheriff Crowder, and said, I've done something foolish and you're going to be very mad at me.
New boss of a month.
Month.
You're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You dipshit.
I hate him so much.
So when Nancy saw his car and assumed that he was with Sue, I guess Sue escaped before her then, right? Yeah, if she was already at the police station.
Well, okay, so by the time Nancy got picked up, Sue had been at the police station, or Sue was rescued about an hour before. So yes.
Oh.
She escaped first.
Okay.
Or no, maybe
I was about to say, I thought
no, sorry.
Nancy's journey seemed like it would take longer than an hour.
Yeah, so maybe Nancy escaped first, but Sue got to help quicker. Like
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was really inarticulate, wasn't it?
No, I get it. She saw a truck faster than Nancy does. So,
yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So when Nancy did hear someone who she thought Sue calling her name, it was probably legit. But still, fine. They each got away. They did everything right.
Right.
So he called Sheriff Crowder, his boss of 1 month, and said, I did something stupid. You're going to be mad. I done fucked up.
Kidnapped 2 girls, handcuffed them to a tree by a noose. Is that wrong?
Tell me tell me when it starts sounding bad. I held 2 girls against their will. They're kids, by the way.
I put a noose around their neck and I told them I'd rape them.
Yeah, and sell them to traffickers. Tell me which part was crossing the line and when I should have stopped what I was doing.
God, I hate him. I hate him already.
I know. So when he called Sheriff Crowder, he said, you're going to be mad at me. He told him that He saw 2 girls hitchhiking and wanted to teach them a lesson about how dangerous that was. So he picked them up, got a little carried away, tied them up, and left them, but suddenly they were gone, and he was worried that they didn't understand that he didn't mean harm. He just wanted to teach them a lesson.
Fuck you.
Sheriff Crowder was like,
What's that
I'm
now?
sorry? You did what? He got the 2 girls' names from Gerard, and he and the lieutenant launched a search for Nancy and Sue. When the truck driver Sue flagged down, called 911, Sheriff Crowder got a more precise location, and that's when he found Nancy. So he was actually already out looking for Nancy when he found her, like, coming out of the river.
Yeah. Wow.
And when poor Nancy saw the patrol car pulling up, she was like, fuck.
It's going to be him.
It's going to be Gerard. Yeah.
Oh.
She was that insanely difficult escape, and it was all for nothing. And she said,
Yeah.
she thought to herself, I'm giving up.
Oh.
I'm just going to let him kill me.
Oh.
But then it got closer, and she realized it was not Gerard. It was this wonderful sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's immediately fired, arrested, and charged with false imprisonment and aggravated assault. 2 days later, though, he posted bail and was released until his court date in November 1972. This all happened in July.
Oh, shit.
In November at his trial, he struck a plea deal and was sentenced to 1 year in jail and 3 years probation after his release. His attorney negotiated that his sentence wouldn't start until after the holidays. After all, he was married. He wanted to spend Christmas with his wife. Yeah, he was essentially a newlywed. He and his wife, Teresa, had been married for about a year at this point. So he wanted to spend the holidays with her. Then his sentence was supposed to start on January 15th, 1973.
We don't care what you want to do.
I know, right?
Do they have kids?
No.
Oh, my God. Poor Teresa.
I know.
Uh-oh. Why?
You'll laugh later on. It's good.
At Teresa?
No.
I was about to say, that seems unlikely considering it's not her fault.
No. Something wonderful happens.
Oh, okay.
When he left the courtroom after that bullshit sentence, he told reporters, quote, "I made a stupid mistake. There was no sex involved. No one was hurt." What?
Excuse me? No one was hurt? God,
traumatized.
Yeah. And physically hurt. She got in a swamp with
oh my God,
nastiness.
Yeah. They were very much hurt.
Oh my God.
Especially mentally though.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why I can't stand people in general. This is what we mean.
This is what we're talking about. Between his release on bail and not having to start his sentence until January 1973, he was able to live freely for about 6 months.
No probation or anything?
No.
Wow.
From the day he posted bail to when his sentence was supposed to start was about 6 months. And that proved to be a tragic mistake on the part of law enforcement.
Right.
On September 17th, 1972, 2 months after Sue and Nancy's terrifying abduction, a woman named Lucille Place came home from the grocery store and saw that her 17-year-old daughter, Susan, and Susan's best friend, 16-year-old Georgia Jessup, were in Susan's bedroom. Pretty standard. They were together a lot. What wasn't standard was this older dude that was there too.
Ew.
He introduced himself as Jerry Shepard, a guy in his 20s that they had met in downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Ew.
He seemed nice. He shook Lucille's hand. He was soft-spoken, polite, but she did not like that this guy in his 20s was hanging out with 2 teenagers. They're 16 and 17 years old.
No.
She later said he looked like Haas Cartwright from Bonanza, if you need a visual.
Okay.
I had to Google it, and I can see it.
Is it the black-haired dude?
No. He's like very round face, kind of dopey.
Okay. Like the dwarf?
No, like just kind of dopey looking. Like I've never seen Bonanza, but
me neither.
Based on what he looks like, he seems like the you know.
Oh, is that right?
Like the dope.
Okay.
The
like the village idiot?
I guess.
Gerard, what's his last name? I forget. Schaefer.
Well, I'm talking about Haas Cartwright from Bonanza. Some of Gerard, he seems to go through phases, but some of the pictures, I'm like, okay, I can see it. Round face, kind of a baby face, but it just seems kind of like goofy.
Dan Blocker's the actor's name. A very large chin, I would say.
Round face. What else can I tell you?
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Kind of a baby.
Yeah.
I'm sure the actor is very nice. Gerard is not. Okay. Again, it's 1972, so Georgia and Susan were kind of in their flower child era.
Mm-hmm.
They sometimes smoked pot. They were very bored of school. And even though they were both living at home with their parents, they were beyond eager to be adults and fly the coop.
Sounds like every teenager in every decade.
I know.
Not necessarily flower childs, but yeah. I get it.
Flower children. You said flower childs.
Oh, did I?
Children.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. You get it.
Only days before this, they were caught hitchhiking in West Palm Beach, like an hour-ish north of where they live. So when Lucille walked in, she was like, "Hey, what's up? Where y'all going? Who the hell's this guy?"
You're right.
They said they were about to go to the beach to play guitar. Since they were caught running away before, like literally days before this, hitchhiking in West Palm Beach, Lucille was like, I'm not buying that. So she was like, okay, let me put these groceries down. I'll be back. And she went outside with a pen and paper and wrote down the make and model of this guy's car, Jerry's car, which was a blue-green Datsun. And she wrote down the license plate.
Good
just
for
in
you.
case. She was like, I don't like it.
If you don't like it, you say no.
Well, no. Well, an argument ensues.
Sure.
I'll tell you all about it. She went back in and was like, okay, so where are y'all really going? And I believe at this point, it's just her and Susan one-on-one. They're really close. This isn't like a angsty teen, I hate my parents type thing for either of them. Georgia loved her parents. Susan loved her parents.
Okay.
It's nice. So they were really close. And she told her that she may be gone for a little while. She wanted to travel, get out of Fort Lauderdale. And Susan was like, oh, yeah. She told her straight up.
The plan wasn't the beach?
No.
Okay.
Or maybe, but they were going to be gone for a
wow.
while. Maybe they were going to go to the beach to play guitar, but that was going to be en route to what Lucille theorized was Colorado. Because she and Georgia had talked about going to Colorado. I think they knew someone out there who loved it, and they just always talked about visiting, and they just, I don't know. She just had a feeling. She was like, I don't know about that. So Susan was just a week shy of her 18th birthday.
Oh.
But still, Lucille was really upset about this. Yeah. And they got into an argument. It gives, it's giving Almost Famous, you know?
Yeah.
When
totally.
Zoe Deschanel is leaving home and eventually William goes on tour with the band, like scared, reluctant parents everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I picture.
Yeah. And then Simon and Garfunkel plays as they drive off.
America. Susan assured Lucille that it would be okay. And just after 8:30 p.m., like Lucille had to sit down with all of them and was like, listen.
Gerard too?
Yeah. You're bullshitting me. I know it. Don't lie to me. And they're like, it's fine. No, we're going to go to the beach and play guitar. We'll be back later. And Susan was like, I'm probably not going to be back later. I'm going to go do my thing for a little bit, but you don't worry about a thing. Anyway, so that's what they were fighting about. Just after 8:30 p.m., the trio was like, okay, we should head out. And Susan told her mom, Lucille, she would be back eventually, but not sure when, but she would call every step of the way.
And Lucille's like, don't worry about it. I got this old man's license plate number. So I'll be watching you, you creep.
No, unfortunately,
I don't think
Lucille told her, if you go, do not come back.
Oh.
Those would be words that would forever haunt her.
Oh.
After 4 days, Susan's parents still hadn't heard from her, and they're really worried, especially after they see that she left her epilepsy medicine at home. Oh. She had medication that she needed to take, I think, every day, and they found it in her drawer.
Why wouldn't she take that?
I don't know. That's why, okay, well, and maybe we'll get to it, maybe not. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like maybe they were going to go to the beach. And maybe she would come back and then leave again when they could have a one-on-one good conversation. Because she didn't even take clothes with her.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask that.
It's very, I don't know what the real plan was.
Yeah.
But Georgia did leave a note for her parents.
Oh.
Pretty much saying, I'm out of here. Which I'll tell you really right now. So she left her epilepsy medication. So now they're freaking out.
Yeah.
Her mom, Lucille, also started having terrifying dreams. She dreamt that she could see Susan. This happened all the time, she said.
Oh, shut up.
She could see Susan terrified with a hand over her mouth and blood all over her.
No.
Isn't that eerie?
I got goosebumps.
Isn't that horrible?
Oh my God. I've just read about a case, similar thing. And it's a very, I might do it in the very near future, so I won't say what it is, but so weird when that happens.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Lucille called Georgia's mom, Shirley, who also hadn't heard from her daughter either, but told her that she came home to a note from Georgia the day she left with Jerry. And the note said, quote, "I'm sorry, Mother and Dad. I love you both very much. I have to find my head."
Oh.
But again, this had happened before, and the girls always got in touch. They didn't want their parents to be worried.
No,
So 4 days going by is too much.
Crazy. Yeah.
So they're worried sick. Lucille was like, okay, well, and she told Shirley, I have this guy's name and I have his car description and his license plate. So I'm calling police.
Yeah.
She called the police and gave them the information, to which they sort of shrugged off, which is insane. They looked into Jerry Shepard in Fort Lauderdale, into anyone named Jerry Shepard in Fort Lauderdale. And there was one, but a different one. Wasn't home.
Really? His license plate? They didn't.
So the Oakland Park Police Department looked up the license plate, and I guess whoever entered it into the system messed up a digit. It's not 100% clear what happened, but what came up didn't fit the description of the car, the blue-green Datsun, and he said it was registered to Pinellas County, which is very much wasn't. So the investigation was very short-lived, and police found no information as to who this dude was.
Oh,
it was
bummer.
Like, it's a big bummer. She had written it down correctly.
Yeah. But
such a bummer. He just, I guess whoever typed it in just missed the letter, but it did pull something up. So I don't know if they're like, maybe you wrote it down wrong.
Oh,
no.
God.
Months passed, and the two moms are helpless.
Yeah.
They started just driving around the city and surrounding cities looking for their daughter. Anytime they saw two young girls with even similar color hair, their heart would stop, but it was never them.
Yeah. God, missing a child before social media. I mean, it'd be tough with social media, obviously, too.
Right.
God, how helpless you would feel where you could only tell a person in front of you. You can't go on the internet and blast it out to the world. It's like, oh, God.
And like, who knows where they are? Months have passed. They could be in Colorado. You don't know.
Yeah. I guess you have news stations, too, but if the cops aren't taking it seriously, the media probably won't at that time.
Right. Two girls left hitchhiking in the 70s.
Right. Who told you they were leaving.
Yeah. Finally, Georgia's mom called the Broward County Sheriff's Department to have them look up the license plate.
Yeah.
And she found out that the car belonged to Gerard Schaefer, not Jerry Shepard, as I'm sure y'all know. The address was 333 Martin Street, Stuart, Florida. Still, police really didn't do anything with this information. Their take was, they ran away. What can we do? They're two kids who ran off with some guy. A story's old as time. They can't do shit. But I'm like, Georgia was 16 years old at this point. Susan, when she left, was 17, but has since, in their eyes, turned 18. She only had a week until her 18th birthday. But I don't know why they weren't considering Georgia a minor who's in danger. She's 16. Anyway, I mean, both of them were in danger, but I just don't understand. So they have an address, and at this point, it's February 1973. It's been over 4 months since they've seen Susan or Georgia or talked to them. Cops aren't doing anything. So Susan's parents, Lucille and Ira's her dad, took a little drive to 333 Martin Street in Stuart, Florida. It was an apartment complex, so they went to the manager's office and told him the situation. They said, our daughter's missing, and we think one of your tenants or former tenants is responsible. And the manager asked who it is, and they said, Gerard Schaefer. And the manager's response was, oh, no, not him again.
How horrifying for the parents to hear that reaction.
Right? The manager, they're like, excuse me now?
What's that?
What do you mean? The manager told them that Gerard Schaefer does live there, but at the moment he was in jail for assaulting two teenagers. Again, this is February 1973. His delayed sentence started in January.
Yeah.
So he was serving his time.
Wow.
Lucille said she almost collapsed when she learned this.
Yeah. They probably thought the two teenagers he's referring to were their daughters.
No, I think he like gave him the whole spiel. Everyone knew about it. They said he was like, no, he's in jail for assault and kidnapping of two teenagers back in July. And she was like,
okay.
excuse me?
Oh, God, that would be so horrifying.
I know. They haul ass to the Martin County Jail, which is where he was, and told them the situation. You have a piece of shit in jail right now. And our daughter and her best friend left home with him over 4 months ago, and they have not been back. They gave the sheriff Susan's picture, and he went to show Gerard. Can you imagine?
Shit.
He's like, okay, hold on, let me go talk to him.
I'll be like, no. I'm going to go talk to him. Yeah, let me go show him.
Yeah. He denied knowing who she was. And without him talking or proof that the girls were even hurt, they've got nothing. And weeks continue ticking by with no answers.
Nothing. They've got the guy they were last seen with behind bars right now for an assault on 2 other people.
I know, but there's no evidence, and they don't even have proof that they're hurt.
She wrote down their license plate. But here's my evidence. How else would I have gotten this if I did not see that car in front of me?
I know, but they're saying we don't even know if they're hurt. They could have ditched this guy and headed to Colorado. I mean, like,
I know, but
there's no evidence of foul play. So they're like, okay,
there's a little bit of probable cause though,
obviously, but knowing what we know now, but you can't just go back there and say you're charged with murder when they know nothing.
I know, but they could grill him a little bit more than he's not talking.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
yeah, whatever. So no, they don't.
Billy club them into talking. That's all. That's all I'm suggesting is a little force.
Right.
A little pain, a little beating.
Oh my God. Just wait. You're really giving me some good stuff for later. So weeks go by, more weeks, nothing. They've done the entire investigation until April 1st, 1973, when 2 bodies were found on the beach or near the beach in Fort Pierce, Florida. Investigators arrive at the scene, and again, the bodies are decomposed. They're decapitated. Yeah.
From an animal or from him?
No, from him. That was done after death.
Wow.
They know they're young women. Since there had been reports of these 2 teenagers missing, there was a media report about Susan and Georgia's disappearance.
Okay.
So people knew about it. And since these 2 clearly young women were found decomposed, they could tell they've been on the beach for a long time. These 2 girls have been missing for over 4 or 5 months now. They went to revisit the statements given from the parents. One of the questions to Georgia's mom was, what was she wearing when she left? To which she said her blue jeans with the Roadrunner patch and then owl patch. Investigators also found bone fragments from their skulls. So they found some of the skulls.
I didn't know he decapitated people. You are so fucked up, dude. Yeah.
Most importantly, among the bone fragments were jawbone with some teeth still in them. That's how they identified the decomposing bodies found as Georgia Jessup and Susan Place. Because they were so badly decomposed, a cause of death couldn't be determined, but they did find what seemed to be a bullet fragment consistent with a .22 in Susan's jaw. But they don't know, again, if she was already dead when he did that. We don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, there wasn't a question as to who was responsible. They knew that Gerard Schaefer was the last person seen with them. And he was very easy to find considering he was still in jail. He was actually set to be released the following month after only serving 6 months for Nancy and Sue's abduction.
Oh, that would have been a very grim mistake.
Yeah. But nah, don't worry.
Okay.
Investigators bring him into an interrogation room and tell him that he's the prime suspect in the double murder of Georgia and Susan. Before they could even get to questioning, though, he asked for an attorney. So a guy named Elton Schwartz is appointed his public defender. Meanwhile, investigators are like, fine, lawyer up. We're going to get a search warrant. Don't give a shit.
Right.
They issued a search warrant for his house as well as his mom's house because he kept some of his stuff there. And holy shit. This search gave them a treasure trove of evidence and opened their eyes to just how many victims he had. First of all, his car, the blue-green Datsun, was parked at his mom's house, so they took that. They also took several guns, bullets, porn, ton of porn, what have you.
And then, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they take everything. They
Yeah,
were
I
like
guess they
taking
do.
a coupon book was listed, like
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But then it gets real bad, real bad. They found 37 Polaroids of women who were mutilated or hung. All of them were too blurry to positively identify, but he took them. It's not like a depiction of it. It's actual people, Polaroids.
Ew.
He had a book about torture. He had Susan's purse, a white pillowcase with stains on it, several pieces of jewelry assumed to be
Oh my God.
souvenirs of his victims, including a locket with the name Lee on it. It was later determined that it belonged to Lee Hainline Bonadies. Lee had been missing since 1969 and grew up next door to the Schaefers in Fort Lauderdale. Her brother and Gerard were friends, and she played tennis with Gerard sometimes.
Oh, wow.
At the time of her disappearance, she was 25, I believe. She and her husband were having a really bad, rocky time, definitely heading towards divorce. One day, her husband came home to a note from her saying she was going to Miami. When she never came back and he never heard from her again, he assumed she was just done with the marriage. So he filed for divorce a couple months later.
Oh,
and it was granted.
Yeah.
Her brother called Gerard Schaefer and told him Lee just up and left, and Gerard told him a crazy story. He said Lee actually called him and told him that she was leaving her husband and asked Gerard if he could drive her to the airport the following day so she could get on a flight to Cincinnati. Gerard said, sure, but Lee never told him a time and he couldn't get in touch with her. So he ended up not picking her up. Her brother was like, what? That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. And we don't know where she is. Then 4 years later, her jewelry turns up in a search of his house. They thought she just left.
Yeah.
Or her husband definitely thought that. I think her family was more worried about it.
And Gerard just inserted himself.
Right.
That's so bizarre. Okay.
Bizarre.
You're a terrible cop, sir. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but way to cover your tracks. Like, I bet he was shitting his pants when they said, we're going to go search your house. And he was like, oh, fuck.
Oh.
Like, you know how to get rid of evidence. You are a cop.
Oh, it gets even worse.
All right.
Lee's remains were found at a construction site in Boca del Mar, Florida, 10 years later.
Oh.
But weren't identified as hers until 2004.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Also in that creep's house, they found a driver's license that belonged to Barbara Ann Wilcox and a passport belonging to Colette Marie Goodenough. Barbara and Colette were both 19 years old and were last seen in January 1973, right before his sentence started.
You are good enough.
I know, isn't that?
It is. It's actually good enough.
It's actually good enough.
Oh wow. Okay.
She is.
She is good enough.
I know. They were last seen, in January 1973 when they left a relative's house in Biloxi, Mississippi to hitchhike to Miami. 4 years later, their skeletal remains were found in a remote wooded area in St. Lucie County by a hog hunter. Same MO, bones scattered around and evidence that they had both been hung.
Oh, God.
And he had their driver's license and passport.
Wow.
They found several teeth and bone fragments that were later identified as belonging to at least 8 other young women and girls.
Damn. This is a bigger serial killer than I thought. I mean,
he's responsible. I don't even think we know how many people he's responsible for killing.
Did Ted Bundy overshadow him? Is this?
Oh my God, I can't wait to talk to you about Ted Bundy. Just give me a second.
They're like college roommates.
They're best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in the search of the houses, teeth that were identified to all these missing people. One of them was Carmen Halleck. Carmen was a 22-year-old waitress from Fort Lauderdale who on December 18th, 1972, again, he just had his trial, just waiting to start a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
She had just had lunch with her sister-in-law and told her sister-in-law she was going on a date with a teacher. And the teacher talked about getting her some high-paying job with the government. She never said his name, but by Christmas Day, when nobody had heard from her and they couldn't get in touch with her, her family used their spare key to go to her apartment, and they found that her bathtub was full and her dog was unfed. It's been like a week.
Mm-hmm.
They filed a missing persons report, and a few days later, they found her car, but her remains have never been found.
Oh, wow.
Her teeth were found at Gerard's house. That is the only trace of her.
That is disgusting.
I know.
Do you think, okay, gross question. Have they found a bullet in the jaw?
Susan's jaw.
Is he like shooting out their teeth? He wants the teeth.
Yeah.
Seems to be.
Yeah. He talks about
Ew. Oh, he does?
Oh, yeah. Because we're not done with the findings.
Okay. All right.
Well, I should say he wrote about that.
Oh, God, this guy's a dipshit.
This guy's a diary writer. All of those, again, that I just named, except for Lee, was done while he was out on bail and waiting to start a sentence for kidnapping and assaulting Sue and Nancy. And there were several more.
God.
All in all, their findings linked him to 28 women in South Florida who were found either murdered or are still currently missing.
Oh, wow.
Some of the assumed victims are as young as 8 years old.
No.
And there are so many more we don't know about again.
Holy shit.
In some cases, they're still being identified. Remains that were found back then, in I believe 1974, in a very similar way as all the others. She was listed as a Jane Doe, and thanks to genealogy, they finally identified her as 15-year-old Suzanne Gale Poole in 2022. They identified her.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully,
did CC Moore do it?
No. The internal police department did it.
Oh, okay. But you did check to see if CC Moore did.
I
do that too.
They have a whole department in this police department internally who did it. Thankfully, Suzanne's mom was still alive in 2022, so she got to have closure finally.
Oh, good.
Also at that house was over 100 pages of written or typed notes detailing his crimes. He called all of the women whores and sluts, but he does name some of them, like a woman who is named over and over named Belinda. She appears several times. This is assumed to be Belinda Hutchins, a 22-year-old wife and mother. She was a sex worker, and her husband Bill last saw her on January 4th, 1973, again before the sentence was supposed to start.
Oh, my God.
Getting into one of her client's cars, which was a blue-green Datsun. This client was a regular, and Bill even knew his name was Schaefer and that he was a cop. But there was no physical evidence, and to this day, she has never been found.
Oh, my God. But it's assumed to be her. I'm going to say it's pretty 100% certain it's her.
No, it's 100% certain it's her because she's listed Belinda over and over. And then Bill Hutchins, her husband's full name and his address at the time were found written down.
Oh, my God.
It's 100% her. The writings also detailed how he did it. He would strip them naked, torture them, hang them, continue to assault them after death.
Ew.
I know. He talks about the excitement he got when they would urinate on themselves.
Stop.
He talked about how he would go back to the bodies to remove the skulls and pull out teeth if he could, and then spread around the bones. Like some bones were found hundreds of yards away. Like he would really spread them out.
So he wanted the teeth to, not so they wouldn't be able to identify them or something?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming
That's
so.
Disgusting.
Right. And it's exactly how Susan and Georgia were found.
Yeah.
Done. The book that I sourced lists literally bullets everything they took from the search warrant, and it took up 24 pages.
No.
In a chapter book. Yeah.
Wow.
I needn't tell you that they had probable cause. So on May 18th, 1973, Gerard was charged with Susan and George's murder, and now he's the prime suspect in a whole bunch of other cases.
Right.
His trial for Susan and George's murders started in October 1973, and he claimed he was being framed.
Okay. Someone really has it out for you to put all those teeth and evidence all in your house. That's crazy.
Yeah. The prosecutor said that Gerard was the most sexually deviant person he had ever encountered, and he made Ted Bundy look like a Boy Scout.
I don't know about that, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Framed, yeah. You and Brian Koberger.
Sure, Jan.
Right. Sure, Jan.
He was found guilty. I'm not even going to get into the trial. I'm sorry. There's still a lot more. Still a lot more.
Okay.
He was found guilty and sentenced to 2 life sentences. He didn't face the death penalty because at this time the Supreme Court had halted all executions everywhere.
Okay.
No death penalty for a couple of years there. His wife Teresa visited him once in prison, and it was to serve him divorce papers. She and Gerard's defense attorney, Elton Schwartz, got married later that year.
No way.
Ouch.
That's incredible.
Ouch. Ouch.
I love that. It's like the stereotype that you marry your divorce attorney, but to marry your husband's defense attorney is incredible.
He actually acted as her divorce attorney too. He got it all set up.
Oh, good for him.
She served him and then was like, "Oh, and I'm engaged to your attorney. Thank you.
Bye."
In prison, Gerard remained the absolute worst.
Sure.
He filed 19 appeals, and every single one of them was dismissed, the judge telling him to stop abusing the judicial process and that his judgment was final and forever. So shut the fuck up.
So shut up. We will continue to rip these up.
Right. He was transferred to an even more secure prison in Stark, Florida, which is like, I think, the state prison. It's where you go if you are on death row when it was reinstated. He was transferred here after state police learned of his plan to escape and kill everyone on a hit list they found, including the judge, the prosecutor, his ex-wife Teresa, and her new husband / his attorney, Elton.
Bye.
He appointed himself as, quote, a jailhouse lawyer, where he'd write up briefs for fellow inmates, only to snitch on them when they disclosed details about the case that the prosecutor didn't know. So the inmates hated.
Oh my God, I'm sure.
Hated him.
You're a menace.
Oh my God, he is the absolute worst. Most of the inmates hated him. One did not hate him. One of them showed him a great deal of respect.
That person was like a child rapist, wasn't it? Or a child murderer.
It was Ted Bundy.
Oh!
It was Ted Bundy. He said Ted Bundy showed him a great deal of respect. He even claims that Ted told him that Gerard was his inspiration for finally moving on to killing 2 people in one day, or more than one person in one day. Because Gerard started his horrible career
before Ted Bundy.
Before Ted Bundy. But he started with one victim at a time. He upped it to 2, like Nancy and Sue, Susan and Georgia, when he needed more of a challenge.
Oh my God.
He says that Ted Bundy said that inspired him to do the same.
Ew, a challenge. You're kidnapping like vulnerable 16-year-olds.
I know.
You're a pussy.
Yeah.
That's not a challenge.
Right.
Come on. Who are likely to run away anyway, or who like to run away, you know?
Yeah, but you're targeting vulnerable people.
Right. And sex workers. So
yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're a coward.
Right. He was also in there with Otis Toole, who was serving life for 6 murders, but he is believed to be responsible for a ton more, including the murder of Adam Walsh.
No way.
Yeah, he's the guy who's confessed to it several times, but then always recanted it. But it's still widely believed that he did it. After meeting Otis, Gerard wrote a letter to John Walsh posing as Otis Toole.
You are a dick.
And demanded $50,000 in exchange for the rest of Adam's remains. The Walshes ignored it, but Gerard liked messing with them because, again, he's a piece of shit.
Oh my God, that gave me goosebumps. What an asshole.
I know. While in prison, an old girlfriend reached out to Gerard. Her name was Sandra London. And ironically, she had gone on to become a crime writer.
Oh.
So I think she reached out because she wanted to write.
Do international people know who Adam Walsh is?
Oh, sorry. I would imagine.
No,
Adam Walsh
probably
is
don't.
John Walsh's son. John Walsh is the host of America's Most Wanted. It's a very big show. Solved a million cases. I don't know how many, but has been integral in solving missing persons cases.
But he was like 6. I was like 6 when he went missing. It's
very
like
young.
Probably the most famous. Maybe actually, you know how we always get asked, what case would you solve if you could solve any? And I'm like, I don't know. There's a ton. Adam Walsh would be up there.
Adam Walsh would be up there. He was abducted when he was in 1981. How old was he?
I think he was 6, and they found him in a river.
Yeah, the Indian River, the very river that Nancy threw herself in. They found his decapitated head washed ashore.
I don't remember who was the guy who always said he was the one who did it.
Otis Toole.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know what his name was.
He confessed a few times, and then they'd say, then prove it. Like, tell us something that the public doesn't know, and then he would recant it. There's so much information on it. There's a lot of reason people think he actually is responsible. He's dead now, so Otis is.
I cannot believe Gerard would fuck with. I don't know why I can't believe it. He is the worst. Yeah, whatever.
But anyway, so it's a horrible case. That poor little boy, the poor Walsh family.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, while he was in prison, his old girlfriend Sandra reached out. She had become a crime writer. The two ended up rekindling and ended up writing a 2-volume book called Killer Fiction together, which was a huge flop. It was again, obviously fiction, but it didn't make shit. They ended up getting engaged in 1991, but she ended it after she met another inmate in this Florida prison.
Ted?
No, hell no. 91, he was engaged.
Sorry.
Ted Bundy was dead.
Yeah.
Gone.
I didn't hear 91. I don't know.
No, but she ended the engagement when she met his fellow inmate, Danny Rolling, aka the Gainesville Ripper.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that actually is he on our list? That actually could be an episode for sure.
Because Danny had more edge. Danny had more je ne sais quoi.
Yes.
Okay.
There was something in him.
She liked the bad boy, and Gerard wasn't it?
With Gerard.
Okay.
Gerard looked like Hoss Cartwright. Danny isn't, is no looker himself. I don't know what her problem is. She has a type. Tell you that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Issues.
So Gerard found this out and he was furious that she would not only dump him for someone he was in prison with for murder.
Right.
So he wrote her this letter. Hello, whore.
All right. Strong entry.
Good start. Really good start. The word on the yard is that the queen of the sluts was romancing Danny Rolling. Valentine, you're mine. I know what you're up to. Money. You're gonna get Danny boy fried while you make a buck off his misery, right?
Yeah.
I think he's referring to her writing a book.
Sure.
Well, go for it. Just make sure to keep my name out of it. Then he threatens her, saying that he was going to get the KKK to come kill her. And she's like,
excuse me.
Okay. Everyone. Can y'all start monitoring his mail?
Right. What's going on here?
Very bizarre. And it says they do. After they went back at her when he was still with Sandra and they were writing this book together, they went back and forth and they did monitor his mail. And then they were like, we have to monitor every single thing he sends out because these letters back and forth are terrible.
This guy's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that Gerard would love it if she slid his name into a future book.
Oh, I know.
I'm saying, keep my name out of it. Okay. Gladly.
Okay. Not a problem.
Not a problem. Wasn't planning to put your name anywhere.
I actually think she remained engaged to this psycho Danny until his execution in 2006. Because when they got engaged in the early 90s, the warden was like, we're not doing a wedding. You're not. No. So they just stayed engaged.
Yeah.
But even now, his Wikipedia partner, so he did have a wife that I guess they divorced a while before his crimes. His partner still says Sandra London, and she's still alive, and her says that
Where
too.
is she now? What is she doing? Is the letter over? Did I just interrupt you completely?
No, that was the letter.
Okay.
Hello, whore.
Hello, whore. Where's that whore up to now? What's that whore
I
up to
don't know.
now?
I don't know. There's a lot on her. I think.
Did she have any successful book?
No, she did. But she did do an interview with Larry King at one point.
Oh, really?
Her whole reason for even reaching out to Gerard in the first place was because the Anne Rule book, Stranger Beside Me, came out. And she was like, wait, I dated a guy that's now in prison for being a serial killer. I want to write a book like that. And it was just flop after flop.
Yeah. I kind of figured Anne Rule she was inspoed by Anne Rule.
Yes, very much.
Wow.
So Because of Gerard's snitching, as I told you about earlier, he got beat up a lot.
Sure.
Other inmates threw shit on him, which is hilarious. Literally would shit in their hand and throw it on him.
That's incredible.
I know.
And they got out for good behavior?
Yeah, they got out for being hilarious.
Good, good.
In 1995, a new detective reopened the cases of Carmen Halleck, Lee Bonadies, and Belinda Hutchins.
Oh.
He was hoping if he could strike a deal with Gerard, he'd get him to confess to all three. So he set up a meeting with them for December 4th, 1995, but sadly the meeting never happened.
Oh.
Because the day before, one day before, on December 3rd, 1995, Gerard was found dead in a cell. He had been stabbed 42 times.
Oh, good.
That's shank life.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not as mad at that. But that does suck for
I know.
That's terrible. But
I know.
At least he probably didn't want to die. And then he died
in a very gruesome way.
Uh-huh.
And
so they probably didn't have a knife. They probably had to make
They made a shank.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you did say that. Yes, yeah.
Inmate Vincent Rivera, who was serving life plus 20 years, was charged with Gerard's murder and got an additional 53 years.
Why?
I'm like, so what? Talk about having nothing to lose.
Right.
Apparently, Gerard took the last cup of hot water from the dispenser in their cell block, and it really pissed Vincent off. He stewed on it for 2 days before he finally got his payback. Like, he was furious. He didn't snap. He stewed on it. It was like, that motherfucker took away the coffee that was going to make my instant coffee. I mean, took away the hot water that was going to make my instant coffee. I'm going to stab him 42 times.
That's whatever it takes. Look.
I know. But sadly, because of that, he did not. The other victims, bare minimum 28 that they could link him to because of everything they found. A lot of people think it's way higher, possibly in the 80s, especially with his writings talking about Belinda and other sex workers that he ridded, quotes, from society for the better.
Oh my God.
There's so many.
From society. Ugh.
I know.
Well, he was.
By Vincent Rivera. So they think it's probably a lot more, obviously.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the story of a piece of shit cop. Oh, and the book was called American Ripper, The Enigma of America's Serial Killer Cop. That's why I couldn't say it.
Wow.
What
I don't want to give him the name The American Ripper.
Oh, I know.
He would love that.
We're not.
Wow. Good one. See, I only knew about the surviving victims, really. That's when I heard the story, but in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm going to write about those two survivors that, I didn't retain all the information. So that was incredible. Thanks for recapping it for me.
No problem.
Wow. What a piece of shit.
Right. Custom shout outs. And reminder, we're editing the Patreon tiers. I know we've said this a lot. So these are left over from people who signed up before we removed custom shout outs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just so y'all know, we've gotten a few signups who are like, here's my custom shout out. And I'm like, that's not part of it anymore. They're for sale on our website though. Go for it. Yeah. All right. So custom shout outs. The first one's from Dio. Shout out to Rocio on graduating from Texas A&M. Oh my God, congrats.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
I'm so proud of the amazing young woman you've become. I love you. Go Aggies. P.S. Thanks for showing me this podcast. People are the worst, but you're the best. You are the best.
And thank you for showing her the podcast.
Oh my God, for real. And congrats on graduating. Live your best life. This is a fun time.
Yeah.
Fun time.
It is. Fun time.
The next one's from Connie. Shout out to my husband who will never listen to this. Hey.
Hey, Connie's husband.
Stop it.
The shout out is fuck you. The shout out is she wants a divorce.
What if it was? That would be so sad. I'm so thankful and proud of him for everything he has accomplished in the last few years to give our family a better life. You're doing amazing. Love you. Okay, good for you.
Good.
You're doing great.
Mm-hmm. Stay together.
Yeah. Connie, it's not worth it. It's not for us.
No.
Stay with him. He's good.
Yeah.
The next one is from Kayla. Nobody better I can think to talk about than my mama, Christy. Most incredible mama they've ever made. Oh, that's cute. I hope and pray I'm half the mother you have been to me. thankful we have a shared love of true crime because I love talking about weird shit with you. Kayla,
Love
thanks.
it.
Christy,
Thank you.
girl. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah.
The last one's from me and Peggy. We recently discovered you guys while looking for a new pod while we delivered for DoorDash. And our only message to everyone is tip your DoorDash drivers. Love you guys. Oh my God.
Do people not do that?
Tip your DoorDash drivers. Oh my God. You've got to. Y'all do that, right? Our listeners do.
Yeah. That's
sure.
like the ultimate service.
Oh my God.
I know people are not uproar about tipping, and some I definitely get. But a DoorDash driver, they drive you. You don't leave your house. You have to tip them.
That's tip worthy for sure.
For sure.
Now, new patrons: Andy, Emily, Chelsea, Remy, Katie, Renata, Kira, Lisa, Casey, Anna, Katie, Avion, Tracy, Carly, Kanisha, Cameron, Taylor, Kelly, Lindsay, Chelsea, Jane, Hayden, Crows, Jen, Kelsey, Felicia, Tracy, Becca, Regina, Heather, Rachel, Tiffany, and Logan.
Awesome. Hell yeah. And I bet you've seen that we have a new $10 tier, which will get y'all 2 mini episodes. That's going to start in July.
Not too many, like you have way too many. Like 2 little babies.
2 MINI, 2 mini episodes. In addition to the 2 regular bonus episodes. So, you know, those 2 minis will start in July. So
that's right.
I think we already have a couple of the $10 tiers, which I love.
I know. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all.
Did I say Kelsey? Kelsey, if you're in there, I think I did, but you're right as it went to the next page, you know, whatever. So Kelsey, you might be getting 2, but you too. Thank y'all for joining. Yeah, people who've signed up for $10 tier, thank you so much.
Thanks.
A $15 tier is coming with ad-free, coming at you soon.
And
y'all have no idea how much it helps.
It really does. Thank y'all. Y'all are the best. People are the worst. Bye.